Hello, welcome back to my daily Transcontinental Race updates. We're now on to day 7, so let's get over to the tracker and have a little look and see what's been going on. And there's some excitement. As we all know, the riders are chasing this ferry. So as I record, I'm a bit late today. I'm in an endurance test of my own, looking after my 2-year-old daughter solo for the weekend, and just didn't want to go to bed tonight, so I'm a bit late, so it might be a bit shorter than normal. But it's 10 to 9 UK time, so 10 to 10. The Bari ferry leaves at 11, I think it was 58, so just before midnight. And it looks like Martin's going to get there. So he is about probably 20k or so. Victor might also get there. It sounds like they've had a really strong tailwind today down the coast. It's been quite stormy inland. A few riders have been posting on social media that there's been thunderstorms all the time, and it sounds as though Victor and Martin, they committed to get that ferry, and it sounds like they've just been lucky with the wind, and it's just basically given them a massive tailwind, and it's just been enough to keep the speed up. And allow them to catch this ferry. So yeah, I mean, that's if they do get it, it's pretty amazing from them, and extremely well deserved. And essentially, this has been a race winning effort if they do get it. I'm still saying if, because I actually took this ferry last year on the way to the accursed race, and actually the port is pretty disjointed. So it looks like actually the control car is this is where the ticket office is. So you can see it's quite a big port. So the ticket office is over here, but the ferries go over here. So you've still, that's almost, well, not quite a K, but half a K, and it's not super clear where to go as well. So once they get to the port, getting to the port is one part. If they've only got like half an hour to go, I don't know if there's a hard cut-off for boarding. Some ferry companies are quite militant about it. Some are a bit more relaxed. So there still could be heartbreak, I feel, and it's going to be interesting. But it's looking like Martin is going to get there. Victor, I think he'll get to the port while the ferry's there. Whether he gets on it or not is a different question. But what incredible riding from the two of them to basically do what we thought was impossible. And last night it didn't look possible at all. But yeah, they've committed, and they've not slept very much, and they've not stopped very much, and it's pretty much paid off. So I'll round up the rest of the race in a second. Before I go any further, obviously Pock, they're still sponsoring this coverage, so a big thank you to Pock for all the support. There's a 20% discount code if you click on the screen, or down in the discounts, in the description below. They do a range of all the helmets. I've been using these for 2 or 3 years now. I've even got a time trial helmet, actually. It's my guilty pleasure, is doing the local club time trials. So yeah, really great stuff from Pock, and great that they're supporting me do this, and they also support the Transcontinental Race as a sponsor. So yeah, check out Pock, and thank you to those guys. So I'll just round up the rest of the route and the rest of the riders in the top 10. So Kristoff Strassa, he's kind of in no man's land at the moment. It's probably like quite a good time now just to play his little update from earlier today. So I'll play that, and it'll just help put things into context a bit.
It's a very strange situation, but I realized during the day that I will not catch today's ferry. It's just not possible. So I took it easy for the rest of the day, and I already made a plan how to continue, and of course I cannot tell you how my strategy looks like, but strategy is a big factor in this year's TCR. Which ferry, which time, we will see, and I'm also looking forward to see how the others are maybe successful or not, because they are still chasing the ferry, and it will be very close. It will be very close. Maybe they are lucky, and maybe they are very disappointed. Let's see. See you tomorrow. It's a very strange.
So that was Kristoff Strassa. So yeah, he's basically decided that he's not going to get that ferry. So he's got another plan in mind. So I'll get onto that in a second once I've finished summarising. This group here, they look like they've basically settled for the Monday night ferry. So if you remember, on Mondays and Tuesdays, Sundays there's a 1 p.m. ferry and then a midnight ferry, and then Mondays and Tuesdays there's only a midnight ferry, and then on Wednesdays it gets back to the twice daily. So I think for these leaders, they've basically timed it, or this top 10, 20, they've timed it quite badly. And certainly the leaders of the women's race are going to have a very similar thing with the Monday night ferry. So they've timed it quite badly with the big gaps. Once you get back into sort of the mid-pack, I think it's going to be a lot simpler, because there's going to be basically one every 12 hours, which is a bit easier to time and a bit less of a hit if you get there early. But it looks like these guys have basically settled for that Monday ferry, and as Kristoff has, he's worked it out and he's just chilled. He's decided that it's not worth kind of busting the gut, because Martin and Victor, they've been gambling. They've been pushing really hard. They had to have pushed really hard. They didn't sleep very much last night, and that's what they had to do in order to risk it. And they've got lucky with the tailwind, and it's looking like they might be able to just make it. Certainly Martin, as we said, Victor might get to the port and not be able to get on the ferry. If he does, he'll be gutted. But we'll see what happens. Nico, again, he's decided it looks like the same. Looks like he's even stopped now. So obviously found somewhere. And to be honest, if you know you're not going to get that ferry, you might as well just have a big night's sleep and save energy. It's still not over the other side, but these guys are probably going to have nigh on a 24-hour lead over the rest. So the race of the victory will probably be between those guys. But they put that big effort in, so I do think that it will be, it certainly won't be a 24-hour gap by the end, and I do think the others will be able to close up if they rest right now. These guys look like they're going for the Monday, and then the Jana is still leading the women's race, but Cynthia is she's looking like she's closing up. So I meant to mention in last night's update that Cynthia had a pretty bad tyre issue. She just totally slashed the sidewall, as you can see here. I think she did this just before or leading into the Alps. And then kept puncturing on the Strada de Alzietta, went through all her tubes, had to stop, go to a bike shop, get a new tyre, all of that, which cost a lot of time, and I think that gap drew out to Jana. But Cynthia does look like she's starting to creep back. Obviously, it's a bit of a wiggly line on the parkour at the parkour section here at the moment. It's not over, and again, that ferry game is going to come into play for the women just as it has with the men, so it's going to be very exciting to watch that as well. And Lael is just a bit further back. She's not too far off at all. Again, it's they could all just come back together on the ferry. Pretty exciting all round. There's kind of a bit of a gap then back to kind of, I guess, the other riders. Jamie Wilson looks like she's in fourth in the women's race, pretty solidly, but there's a big gap. So I think the women's podium is between these three riders here, and sort of the top 10. I mean Jana and Cynthia, if they push hard enough, they could be getting into the top 10 overall as well, which is pretty fantastic. So that's kind of a brief update. Now again, we're gambling, or Victor and Martin are gambling. Looks like it's paid off. They're going to get hopefully to Durrës. It's an 8-hour ferry, so they should be there 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Kristoff says in his little video clip there, he's got a new strategy, and I suspect it's trying to get the Brindisi ferry. So Brindisi to Vlora. So what I've done is I've just pulled up the website. So I shall just sort this out for you. Bear with me 1 second. So the Monday ferries are looking like this. So Monday, so Barry to Durrës, which is the one I think most people will get to, 11 o'clock. So basically 24 hours after tonight's ferry. But there's also this other one, Brindisi Vlore. So 12 o'clock tomorrow. So lunchtime tomorrow, arriving at 5 o'clock. So you could potentially, and I suspect this is what Kristoff is going to do, and is probably one of the only riders that it's going to make sense for, unless Martin or Victor miss that ferry. They'll probably want to do this as well. So it's a 5-hour ferry, so a bit shorter. leaves at 12, gets there at 5 p.m. It does, however, mean a bit of extra riding. So I've worked it out. It's another 76 miles. So if I put this in ride with GPS, as you can see here, it's about 4 hours ride time. Although given their pace, the last few days, or certainly the last day, it might be a bit quicker. However, they will be very tired. So it's very possible to get that 12 o'clock ferry. I suspect Kristoff is aiming for that 12 o'clock ferry tomorrow. But the real thing that makes the difference is the other side. So it arrives at 5 o'clock. And I've kind of there's a lot of banned roads in Albania. We'll go on the road resource map here. So you can see on the other side, there's a lot of banned roads. Now I've done a rough kind of route here. It's not super accurate. I think I've missed most of the banned roads, but it illustrates the point. So if you get to Vlore, it's 127 miles to the checkpoint versus it's around 50, I think it is, if you go to Durrës. So that's another 80 odd miles on top, plus the ride down, which was 76. So you're talking about another 150 miles on top of what they've already done. However, if you go on ride with GPS here, it reckons it's about 7 hours to the checkpoint versus probably 3 or 4 from Durrës. So if you got there at 5 o'clock and you rode 7 hours, you'd probably get to the checkpoint about the same time when the ferry arrived in Durrës. So I think Kristoff is going to do that, and he will then get a bit of probably a 50k gap. So I think he'll probably get that ferry, and then he'll have probably a 50k gap on these guys. Not sure what Nico might do. He might play the same cards and try and get the same ferry as Kristoff. But they'll have a 3-4 hour gap, I suppose, on this middle chasing pack. It won't be decisive, but it will be a bit more time further up the road. So yeah, there's a lot to watch. I mean, it's 10 o'clock local time now. Let's just see how close the guys are. I'll update it now on the map here. So it's looking like, where's the little scale? 5 miles. So yeah, it's probably about just over 10 miles for Victor. So probably like 45 minutes, maybe half hour or so for Martin. Just in ballpark figures. So 10, half 10 for Martin. I think Martin will get the ferry. Victor, 11. Yeah, I think they're both going to get it. I think they'll both get it. I mean, we won't know for sure till tomorrow. So yeah, I think the race for the win is going to be between those guys. But you do have to remember, this is the TCR. It's never simple. And I did plot this route yesterday, and realised that the mandatory parkour is this climb up here, but down the other side, of course, there's no road. So if I see if the little Google Man works somewhere on here, it basically looks like it's just basically an unbuilt road. So you can see here, look. So yeah, again, so there's going to be some more gravel on the way down to that checkpoint. It doesn't look too bad here, but I've done a lot of riding in Albania, and I just know how rough and sketchy it can get in places. Just like this. So if you're listening on the podcast, it's basically just a really rocky 4x4 track. It's going to suck on a road bike. Punches can happen still. Wheels can break. Bikes can break, bodies can break, people can crash. So it's by no means done. But at the moment, I think we're going to see a very big gap to the front two riders as of tomorrow. And then, a bit of a bedraggled chase group behind. So yeah, that's what I think is going to happen. I'll just finish up with the Transcontinental Instagram. I'm not going to do too much social media tonight because it's late and my brain's pretty much stopped working. So this is Victor heading down that coastal road. Looks like Martin there. So I'll just read some of this. So from late afternoon to early evening, the pair were pushed along the coastal rise by a ripping tailwind. It might have tipped the balance for their fortunes. I think it has. Victor Bazzoni has gained 90 minutes on the race leader, Martin, since the fourth control in Percentro, and he shows no sign of slowing. By Barry, we expect the pair to be neck and neck. So we're going to have a good race the other side, I think. At this point, it looks like as if either both riders will make the sailing or neither will. So yeah, as I said, tune in again tomorrow. And yeah, this was just off the TCR podcast. If you've not listened to it, it's really good reportage from the road. Obviously, I'm just sort of analysing what I see already out there, but these guys are on the road, so we'll just listen and see what Martin was saying.
Everyone's mind, Martin, is ferries. Talk to me.
Ferries?
Yeah.
Yeah, the ferry game is on. I practiced 3 years for it, riding Gran Guanche. Last year I failed big time. I hope it won't happen this time again.
So have you already booked a cabin?
There are no cabins left.
Okay. But you're booked onto something?
Not yet. Might be stupid, but...
See how it goes. Okay, you have an idea though?
No. I mean, no.
See how quickly you can get there. The question on everyone's minds, Martin, is...
So yeah, so that was Martin. Obviously, he's not going to be sleeping in a cabin, and they're not too keen about you sleeping on the floor on those ferries either. Obviously, you went on one last year. Might be able to get a bit of a sofa or something, but I think it's not going to be the big night's sleep. And yeah, after that big huge chase, these guys are going to be really tired. But we'll see what happens. So yeah, thanks again for watching, and I'll be back again tomorrow with another update. So see you then.